May 8, 2026, the United States government did something it has resisted doing for nearly 80 years. It opened the files. 162 declassified documents, videos, infrared footage, FBI case files, NASA transcripts, and Apollo mission imagery. All of it dropped publicly on a government website with no login required, no security clearance, no filter. Just the raw material that's been sitting in classified vaults since the 1940s. The reaction was immediate. Millions of people flooded the site. Servers glitched within hours. Congressman Tim Burchett, one of the loudest voices pushing for disclosure, posted that the first drop would be big, but, quote, in comparison to what is coming, they will be a drop in the bucket. He ended with, holy crap is coming. So, what's actually in there? What's genuinely compelling? And what, if anything, is still being kept from us? Let's go through it. First, the backstory on how we got here, because this didn't come out of nowhere. In February 2026, former President Barack Obama appeared on a podcast and said, and this is a direct quote, that aliens were real. He immediately walked it back, clarifying that he meant statistically, the odds of life existing somewhere in the universe are high, and that he personally saw no evidence of alien contact during his presidency. But Trump had already heard enough. He called Obama's comments a big mistake and accused him of revealing classified information. Then, within days, Trump posted on Truth Social that he was ordering the Pentagon and all relevant agencies to begin identifying and releasing government files on alien and extraterrestrial life, UAPs, and UFOs. The result was PURSUE, the Presidential Unsealing and Reporting System for UAP Encounters, a multi-agency declassification effort coordinated between the White House, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the Department of Energy, NASA, the FBI, and the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, all of it hosted publicly at war.gov/UFO. Now here's where it gets interesting. The files span from 1947 to early 2026. They cover more than 400 individual incidents across 4 continents, and some of what's in there is genuinely difficult to explain away. Let's start with the Apollo missions, because this is the section that stopped a lot of people cold. Apollo mission transcripts and photos from Apollo 11, 12, and 17 are included in the release. In a post-mission debriefing, astronaut Buzz Aldrin described seeing little flashes inside the cabin, spaced a couple of minutes apart. While attempting to sleep in lunar orbit, he described seeing what appeared to be a fairly bright light source that the crew couldn't identify. Astronaut Alan Bean, on Apollo 12, reported seeing flashes of light that he described as sailing off into space. A newly released photo from the Apollo 17 mission shows 3 bright dots in a triangular formation above the lunar terrain. Official analysis describes a sizable object and particles resembling, in their words, 4th of July fireworks. The government's conclusion? Possibly physical objects, no consensus. Could be lens flares, spacecraft debris, or reflections. Investigation ongoing. Now you can be skeptical of all of that. Lens flares are real. Debris in orbit is real. But here's what's worth sitting with. These are not civilian reports. These are NASA mission transcripts, filed by trained astronauts in space. And for decades, the government said nothing about them. A U.S. military pilot filed a report on a triangular metallic object flying at 25,000 feet over the Mediterranean Sea. A Central Command infrared video from 2023, 2 minutes and 57 seconds long, shows an object flying near the ocean surface near Greece, executing multiple 90-degree turns at approximately 80 miles per hour. To be clear about what a 90-degree turn at speed means, no known aircraft in existence can do that. The physics of it require either a propulsion system we don't have, or an inertial dampening technology that doesn't exist in any publicly known program. A U.S. Indo-Pacific Command clip shows a football-shaped object near Japan that the Pentagon formally describes as an oblate spheroid, a shape that produces no aerodynamic lift under any known propulsion principle. The case is logged as unresolved. From Syria in 2024, an infrared video shows two semi-transparent orange forms that each appear for 2 seconds, then vanish. Standard military infrared sensors render heat sources as bright white or yellow. Semi-transparent orange forms appearing and vanishing in 2 seconds do not match the thermal signature of any known aircraft, ordnance, or atmospheric phenomenon. And then there's the 1966 FBI memo, one of the older files in the release, that describes small beings emerging from a saucer-shaped craft, complete with composite sketches. So, compelling? Yes. Conclusive? That's the problem. Here's what's missing, and this is where it gets uncomfortable. The files released under Pursue are, by the government's own descriptions, the cases that remained unsolved due to insufficient data. Not the cases where they found answers, not the cases where something definitive happened, the unresolved ones, the ones where data gaps made it impossible to draw a conclusion. Which raises an obvious question. Where are the cases where they did draw a conclusion? Critics pointed out immediately that some of the footage released had already been circulating in UFO research communities for years. Some material overlapped with what paranormal researchers had published in books. The government framed these as never before seen. Researchers who'd been tracking the topic for decades said, "We've seen some of this." There's another problem. The government proved, by releasing redacted versions of some imagery, that it is technically possible to downgrade sensitive UAP footage for public release. They redacted the parts that would reveal military sensor capabilities and released the rest. The War Zone, a defense publication that's been covering this for years, noted the irony directly. The government spent years claiming it couldn't release UAP imagery because doing so would reveal classified sensor technology. The 2026 release proved that that was never entirely true. They could release redacted versions. They chose not to. So why release now? And why this particular selection of files? There are a few theories worth considering. The first is the most cynical. The Pursue release closely mirrors the structure of two other high-profile document drops from the Trump administration, the JFK files and the Epstein files. Both generated enormous public interest and enormous media coverage. Both were described as historic transparency. Both, critics argued, revealed considerably less than promised while generating significant political goodwill. The pattern of a glitchy website, a flood of public attention, and a drip feed of rolling releases, more files coming, stay tuned, is identical each time. The second theory is more structural. The US military has a genuine problem with UAP near sensitive installations. Service members are seeing things they can't explain, and historically the culture has punished them for reporting it. If you're a pilot and you file a UAP report, it raises questions about your mental fitness as well as your judgment. For decades, that stigma kept the data from flowing upward. A public disclosure program, even a partial one, destigmatizes the reporting process. More reports mean more data. More data means better threat assessment. Whether those threats are foreign drones or something else entirely, the military has an institutional interest in knowing. The third theory is that nobody in official channels will say out loud. The released files are the safe files. The cases without answers that couldn't embarrass anyone, couldn't reveal active programs, and couldn't confirm what the most serious whistleblowers have been claiming for years. That there are programs within the US government that have gone far beyond classifying sightings, and that the UAP conversation has been deliberately kept at the level of unresolved aerial phenomena to prevent the next question from ever being asked. That next question being, unresolved by whom, and for how long? There's a second batch already out, released May 22nd. The cumulative archive now exceeds 200 documents, photos, and videos. More tranches are coming through 2026 and into 2027. Tim Burchett said, "Holy crap, is coming." Maybe. But here's the honest answer to what these files tell us right now. They confirm that the US government has encountered things in the sky it cannot explain. They confirmed that some of those encounters involved objects performing maneuvers that no known aircraft can perform. They confirm that these incidents have happened globally, repeatedly, near military assets, over decades. What they do not confirm is who or what is behind it. And the gap between what they released and what they've had access to for 80 years is wide enough to ask a very simple question. What exactly are they still deciding? We're ready to know.